Such was the achievement of young Derinkuyu when she was declared her primary school's super writer after completing her first book in Prima 3, or Year 3, or whatever grade 7-year-olds were placed in when she was at that age. If the preternatural blossomings foretold adult success as a novelist, Ms. Carver has also explored plenty of other options when it comes to making a crust, mostly in the field of instructing, training, motivating and evaluating. She lives down south with a husband and a menagerie. Her latest book, Two Truths, aspires to question the status quo and explores ecological themes and mysteries. Please welcome Derinkuyu.
Hello. All right, away we go. The world is full of archaeological and ecological mysteries, things we've found and can't explain that date back to the beginning of time. About 20 years ago, I became fascinated with how they all had a few things in common, and this inspired me to come up with one explanation that covered them all. I am not an archaeologist or an ecologist. I am an author, a writer, and an artist. I wasn't interested in an academic undertaking. I had done plenty of that, and I wanted to create an answer to these mysteries that was both plausible and entertaining and, well, beautiful. But first, what were these mysteries that fascinated me? We'll start with something we all know. 5,000 years ago, large stones erected before the wheel was invented. Elite group of people probably had some kind of engineering knowledge beyond what they should have, and also some difficult to predict weather seems to always happen around these rocks. This is the oldest prehistoric underground temple in the world. Unique acoustic properties are found within it. Sounds are actually magnified 100-fold, and people say that they feel the sound vibrating in their bones and tissues. People also claim that they have been healed of illness when inside. These giant stone balls of Costa Rica from between 200 BC and 1500 AD weigh up to 1,500 tons. Many of them are made from materials that were not found in the area. Some of them apparently repel water, and there are strange reactions to the temperature changes in the environment. One of my favorites, this one. Roughly the size of a shoebox, the sophistication in the gears and the internal workings of this are far beyond any known Greek technology of the time. X-rays of the artifact that happened in the 20th century revealed functionally that it is an ancient computer, but it's dated 87 BC. Heads of Easter Island, another familiar one, up to 10 meters high. They weigh about 82 tons. They're as old as AD 1250. By the type of rock, though, it was clear that they were moved a very far distance and in a short amount of time. How did this happen? An ancient multi-level underground city. It extends to a depth of 85 meters. It's large enough to have sheltered as many as 2,000 people together with livestock and food stores. People that have studied it say that they would have had to excavate it with things that couldn't have existed then. These ancient Chinese seals, dating 200 AD to AD 1600, discovered all over Ireland. Interesting thing was they were embedded in rocks that dated during a time when there was no known commerce between China and the Emerald Isle. So all of these things started coming together for me. These pre-Columbian era crystal skulls, they're exactly the same size as a human skull, with finite details, but they could only have been carved by rotary tools that didn't exist in pre-Columbian times. And people claim that they catch the light in a certain way that actually displays events and images that aren't around them, that couldn't be. Perhaps the first crystal ball. Clay jars, this is my favorite, contain a rod, an iron rod encased in a copper cylinder. They date about 200 BCE. They built replicas of these devices, which produced a voltage, so they do believe they were a battery, but for what? And when this technology didn't exist back then. Plain of jars, thousands of jars, 3 meters high, weighing up to 14 tons, across 90 sites. They're arranged in clusters of up to 100. They're 2,000 years old, and people claim an eerie feeling and that the winds and the weather patterns are not normal around these jars. This next one's another popular one, or familiar one. There's been over 100 of these Nazca lines found to date. They're all different images. They average in 700 meters long, and archaeologists are unsure how they would have been constructed without a view from something higher than any mountain or hill would have been able to offer. This is actually from Ohio, the state I was originally born in. It is the world's largest surviving effigy mound, which is a mound in the shape of an animal. It's 411 meters long, and people actually claim that if you're there, you'll find that the winds come from a different direction than they did when you arrived, and people believe that if you walk around it, you'll be healed. Pyramids, we all wonder about how they're constructed, but do we know that seeds, if they're planted inside the pyramid for a while before sowing, will germinate quicker than ones that aren't? These pyramids also have such power that if sick plants are put inside them, they can also be cured. Unexplained deaths and injuries also seem to happen around the pyramids. These lines in Bolivia are thousands of perfectly straight paths etched into the land despite rugged topography and natural obstacles. It would have taken over 3,000 years to make them. They covered 22,000 kilometers, practically invisible to see. You can only see them by the air. Underwater ruins of Japan, sprawling underwater city, about 5,000 years old, mysteriously features perfect right angles and straight lines, stairways and streets to vaulting towers, and rocks that don't match any of the area above. Another one of my favorites, small hollow objects made of bronze. They're only about 4 centimeters. They have 12 flat faces with a pentagon, embellished with a series of knobs. And with close study by a number of archaeologists, they figured out they were calibration devices, and they have this strange magnetic property. So what are the themes that we see here? Things where they shouldn't be. Technology way ahead of its time, engineering way ahead of its time, strange weather patterns and energy. What could explain all of this? I wanted to create an answer that created wonder, that for people would probably not believe that it's true, but they would believe that it was plausible. So I wrote a novel, but I found it required 2 truths, 2 answers. It took me 16 years to write and incorporates 17 themes. It begins with a mysterious murder, which flings 4 characters onto 4 different paths and brings them all to the same 2 truths. 2 truths which offer an explanation for all the answers above and much more.